All for coming. Really excited and grateful that you're here and blessing this lodge with all your energy. You can feel it magnetizing even more than it has ever been before. So this is all very exciting and kind of unreal, actually, for this book to be birthed into the world. So I've asked Miriam, my lodge sister, my circle sister, to do a blessing for this book so that it can reach anyone and everyone who is looking for this information. So thank you, Miriam.
And she let me know that this morning.
Yeah. So it's because I woke up from a dream that was letting me know that this book needed blessed.
Yeah. So I'm deeply honored. Thank you for this opportunity, Robin. And the first thing that I want to share with you is that these are all from my garden. So we have a cedar family plant. We have lavender, we have sage, and we have rosemary. And when I was walking in the woods this morning with my friend, right after you called me, she looked down and this crow feather was there. So I was like, oh, little crone energy coming here for my sister. And I crossed a neighbor in the path on my way home, and the feather was in my hair, and he commented on it. And so I got home, and then a few minutes later, he was walking down the driveway, and he said, "You dropped your feather." And I'm like, "No, it's right here." He said, "Well, here's another one." So, and they're two sisters. So I want to honor you and our long path with our teacher, and so I'm just gonna just brush you with this beautiful plant medicine, and just clean that beautiful spirit. It smells wonderful. And this bouquet is for you. Thank you. So, in honor of our teacher, Will Rocking Bear, I stand before you, having called in all those sacred directions, feeling planted on this earth, to bless this book that I personally have waited for many years. And I call on all of creation in those ways that we were taught, that this ceremony, like so many others, is about abundance and bringing forth that true beauty in one's life that one is calling for. And it comes from one of the most beautiful people I have ever known. And so we bless this book with that love of creation, with the love of Rocking Bear, who I know is so proud and soaring, with the community from which we came and still reside in our hearts. Bless this book, that it go out into the world and heal lives and heal hearts, that souls find what they're needing and wanting, and that the people are healed through the love that you have poured through these pages and this ceremony that you have learned and are willing to pass on. So, in great gratitude, White Star, many blessings on this journey. Oh, thank you.
So in my mid-30s, 30s, I was living in Houston, Texas, and I asked Spirit for a new path. One that was very honoring of the feminine, honoring of Mother Earth. And I didn't know really what that would look like. And I was leaving my office and a dragonfly sticker was on the ground. It caught my eye. I bent to pick it up, and there in shadow was the same shape, and it was a hovering dragonfly. So I thought, oh, this is a really important symbol for me. And in finding what that meant for me led me to the medicine cards by Jamie Sams, David Carson. And that opened up the native teachings to me. And they really spoke to my heart. That language just enriched me, and it just brought a level of passion and enthusiasm and joy into my life. And so that's my my desire for this book, because Jamie Sams and a lot of the other native teachers at that time in the late 80s, early 90s, they were writing down what was just in an oral tradition, and some of their elders weren't too keen on that. But they kept getting that directive from Spirit, no, this is what we need to do, and they did it. And I would never have known to investigate that spiritual tradition without those early books. So I'm just hoping that this will continue in that tradition, and I make it very clear that these are my words. This is what I digested from the teachings that Rocking Bear shared. And so I feel in my heart that that's what each of us is really here to do, is to digest the wisdom from many different spiritual traditions and then regurgitate it in our own unique way. So that's what I've done my best to do here. So I thought I would read just some very, very short things. And this is two personal stories, because I share a lot of my own story in this book. So sorry, Subhash. A lot of details are out there for all to read. And then just one other small paragraph from one of the teaching pages. So this is the first reading is from my own calling ceremony. As I sat cross-legged in front of the fire, I looked at the items on the small cloth altar beside me: a feather, a stone, a picture of myself and my son, and a dragonfly carved from crystal and silver. All these items held deep significance for me, showing the true energetic workings of my inner and outer life. Rocking Bear was behind me, playing the large, deep voice Tara Mara drum. Then to the left side, then to the right, behind me, low to the floor, above my head, repeating the pattern again and again, creating a resonating sphere of energy around me to magnetize and send out the intentions held in my heart. The drum beat alerted all my spirit helpers and medicine ancestors, and the spirit helpers and medicine ancestors of the man coming into my life, to hear my intentions and to lend assistance in creating the connection that would draw us together. I was calling my soul companion to me, to come into my life in a good way, to know who I was and what I wanted in this sacred relationship. I was setting my personal and relationship boundaries, communicating my heart's desires, and opening myself to his presence and energy. While the drum continued its strong hypnotic beat, my everyday thoughts fled, pounded away by the drum's stream of pure energy, and leaving only my heart's desires and intentions in my consciousness. I could no longer hold the thoughts in my brain of the mantra that I had been intoning in the weeks before the ceremony. I am ready for an intimate, authentic relationship with my soul companion. Now I was simply being this specific want, this clarified desire. Sandwiched between the drumming and the fire, I began to grow very warm. Rocking Bear had placed a medicine blanket around my shoulders, enveloping me in a soft, protective cocoon. Sweat trickled down the sides of my body beneath my clothes. The heat and pounding of the drum created so much energy, such a loud intention, that I seemed to be crackling with the intensity of the building energy. It was so very powerful, yet calming and peaceful. I was already floating, while at the same time I felt the energy of Turtle close to me, connecting me to Mother Earth and her teachings of only being able to move forward in life, unable to go backwards. I welcomed Turtle's assistance with my calling. Eventually, Rocking Bear instructed me to go through the fire and sit on the other side to better see myself, still feeling the tremendous heat and light, not only from the fire and the drum, but now also from the sun. I realized I was seeing a beach with endless sand and water in the distance. I was pulled there, the waves of the ocean further magnetizing my thoughts and feelings. I could not see my partner in clear detail when I was asked to, but I was aware of his presence. I talked with him, welcoming him into my life and my heart. I expressed my gratitude that he and I would soon be together physically, able to touch each other. I gave him a macaw feather as my troth to him. He gave me a wolf skin and a white flower as his pledge to me in return. I clearly saw the gifts given and received in every detail. I told him where I lived, in Asheville, Western North Carolina, and the places I most frequented so he could easily find me. The vision faded, the drumming stopped, and Rocking Bear said, "It is done." My soul companion had been called, he answered, and we had chosen one another. I had called to my beloved. I had made space in my life for him. I had made spiritual contact with him through the fire, and was now ready and open to welcome my beloved into my physical life, as I had already welcomed him into my heart. So because, oh well, I'll read the next one and then I'll comment. Okay. So in November of 2000, so I had done that calling ceremony in January of 2000. So here it is 11 months later. In November of 2000, I was participating in a pipe ceremony in Asheville to pray in support of the Vision Questers in Mexico who were going up on the mountain the next morning. There were 2 pipes present, and each was being sent around the circle. When it was my turn to pray with the first pipe, I shared my prayers for the Questers and my gratitudes, and especially the ones pertaining to my soul companion. I gave thanks for his life and for all the good work I had done to be ready for him, and likewise all the good work he had done in his life to be ready for me. I completed my prayers and passed the pipe to the next person. A little while later, the second pipe came around to me, and again I spoke from my heart about the soul companion that I had called to be in my life. Remember, I hadn't met him yet in the physical. Then, with no conscious thought or forewarning, I blurted out, "And Great Spirit, I wish he would hurry up." Well, everyone laughed, as did I. Ceremony is real life, not meant to always be serious. The next weekend was Thanksgiving. I visited relatives in Virginia, and when I returned home, I found an email waiting for me on the online dating service where I was registered. The email was from a man who turned out to be my soul companion, and it was the start of our correspondence, which eventually led to our meeting in the physical. That's how powerful a pipe ceremony can be. Our prayers are lifted up by the smoke of the medicine plant in the pipe and transmitted directly to Great Spirit. The other magical part of the story of how we met is this. On Thanksgiving Day, my beloved decided to look at the online dating service where he was registered, which he hadn't visited for quite some time. He used the parameters of the area codes closest to Winston-Salem to pull up potential profiles. He entered 336, 704, and 919, and my profile popped up with my picture. He is highly visual and has a photographic memory for faces. So when he saw my picture, he recognized me, but he couldn't place where we had met. Then my profile blipped off the screen and he couldn't retrieve it, no matter what he did. He remembered reading, though, in the instant my profile was up, that I lived in Asheville, which didn't fit the area code parameters that he had put in. He looked up Asheville's area code, entered 828, and my profile came back up on the screen. Finally, it came to him that he had seen me in a past life regression, where we both lived in a small village in the jungle. He wrote me a one-line email. Please look at my profile, and if interested, we can talk together, which I received when I returned from Thanksgiving. He found me with just a wee bit of help from the computer gods and goddesses and my prayers. So this book is set up, the chapters are set up within the 7 directions so that, as in all the native teachings, nothing is delivered in a linear fashion, but in a spiral so that you can start anywhere and continue on that journey, and it's more like a mosaic. So, but I wanted to read just a little bit from the west direction, and that is touching the divine within. This is in the chapter on being specific without being limiting in your calling, in your request. When prayers are answered and requests made manifest, it is routinely called luck, happenstance, or coincidence, but it is much more than that. In olden times, answered prayers were often labeled magic, sorcery, witchcraft, invoking fear and retribution. Requests made manifest is nothing to be afraid of, nor should it be labeled as unnatural. It is simply a universal law that as a being of light, we create our life by inner, crystallized soul desire. This is how we migrate through our lives, with no 2 lives being the same. Connections are forged in the invisible world first, then manifested in the visible world. Luck or synchronicity, magic or miracles, all are simply created through our thoughts, words, and actions. This is the web of life. Every being of the planetary family connected through an inner crystallization of who we each are in the present moment, shifting and realigning as we grow and evolve in consciousness. When our thoughts, words, and actions are congruent, we are then aligned within ourselves. Our requests have power, clear purpose, and absolute trust fueling them. In that moment of crystal clarity, our desire flashes through the universe like a laser beam, igniting the invisible flame of manifestation to bring that request into physical beingness, whether it is world peace, our soul companion, or the right cat sitter. No request is too small or too big. So thank you. Thank you. Quick questions, if anyone has any.
How long did it take you to write it?
Just in a nanosecond.
6 years and 6 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. So after I met Subhash and moved here to Winston-Salem, I started writing down, and I started sitting with Rocking Bear and showing him what I had written and working with him to get a greater understanding of the calling ceremony, because I was just like, okay, this is too fabulous. This is, everybody needs to know and have access to this. It's just so vital. I know I'm not unique, and for 20 years I was single and just so incredibly lonely inside. Even though I had a rich, full life, there was that missing connection to that beloved. And so, but my son was young. I was just starting my work full-time with the lodge here, so I had to put it up on the shelf. And the years went by, and finally Cheryl invited me to join her book club and writers group. And so I sat with that and I thought, okay, if I join this writers group, it means I am going to finish this book, and otherwise why do it? And so I decided, yep, I'm going to do it. And so that was what, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah. So that's how long. And many calling ceremonies later. So it was really helpful to have that experience. Hi, Debbie.
Right. How has it changed you to write the book?
Yeah, that's a good one. I've been pulling butterfly a lot. I pull a totem card every day, and I've been pulling butterfly a lot. And so it is a feeling like I have become more who I am, and part of it's my age, but part of it is just being able to manifest another desire, heart's desire. I do an all-night dreaming ceremony, and people bring the dream that they are carrying in their heart, and sometimes it's been unacknowledged for a very long time. Just, we think it's too big, it's too much, it's too scary, but people bring those. And so maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, that was my dream that I brought for everyone to help me dream into physical manifestation, was to write. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you all very much. Very honored that you're here, and I'm grateful to Rocking Bear. When I did the acknowledgments page, it's like 3 or 4 pages long, because to me gratitude is so incredibly healing and empowering, and it's what makes the world go round. So I have a lot of gratitude, all the people on my journey and all the people yet to come and be part of that journey. I'm very excited. So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.